Welcome back, First LEGO League Challengers. In this video, we'll guide you through how to create an effective presentation during your judging session.
Before we start, we wanted to give you all an overview of the updated judging session for the 2020 to 2021 season. In the past, the project and robot judging were separate sessions. For the 2020 to 2021 season, they are combined. However, in the future they might be separate again, so I would suggest taking a look at the judging session for your year. First, your team will introduce itself to the judges. You will get 2 minutes to set up your material for your presentation. Then, your team will present the project. After that, the judges will ask general questions about your innovation project. You will have to answer their questions. Remember, core values matters at all times. Here's a question they may ask about the innovation project. Describe the problem your team selected in 3 sentences or less. Then, you'll explain your robot design. You will also need to show the code for your robot.
After you explain your robot design, you'll be questioned on it. Again, you'll have to answer all the questions that the judges ask you. Here are 3 questions that they may ask you about robot design. First, what mission is your favorite? Second, explain the steps in the program for that mission and describe how your robot moves from place to place or overcomes obstacles. And third, how does your robot balance speed versus power? After the judging session, your team needs to reflect on how you incorporated core values to the judges, and finally, you'll get verbal judge feedback.
Now that you all have an overview of the judging session, let's go over what we will cover in this video. First, we need to go over the project rubric, which tells you how your presentation will be judged. Then, we will go over the judges' questions and how to answer them. After that, we will tell you all about the display boards that you place in your pit area at the tournament. Next, we'll go over the team notebook that is meant to introduce your team and provide more information that you may want the judges to know. And finally, we will go over what you should hand out to the judges.
Let's start with the rubric. There are 3 parts to the rubric: core values, your project, and your robot design. This page of the rubric entails how you'll be judged on the project. If you remember from the beginning of the video, you will need to make your 5-minute presentation based on the project. We suggest to start with a skit and then do a trifold presentation and conclude with an explanation of your solution. If that doesn't work for you, you can also play a video or short film that you made to explain the problem. Overall, the presentation must clearly explain your problem, your team solution, why it's innovative, how feasible it is, and more. Try to memorize your script instead of reading it, and keep the lines short so that they are easy to memorize. Make sure that everyone on the team participates, and when a team member is giving their line, the whole team should be engaged.
Here's the rubric for the robot design. If you remember from the beginning of the video, this should be your second 5-minute presentation after you finish your project presentation and judging session. Teams should communicate to the judges their achievement in each of the criterias. As a reminder, you'll want to show off your code and your physical robot to the judges during your presentation.
Finally, here's the core values part of the rubric. If you remember from the beginning of the video, this is the last 3 minutes of time that your team gets to talk before you get judging feedback. And remember that you should always be demonstrating core values in everything that you do, even when you're not thinking about demonstrating them. And for more tips during your core values presentation, you can check the link in the description for some judges' tips on your core values presentation.
As mentioned in the beginning of the video, the judges will ask questions after your 5-minute project presentation and your 5-minute robot design presentation. The judges may ask a specific team member, or they may ask the whole team. Choosing a captain for that judging session can be useful. The captain helps direct the questions and makes sure everyone on the team answers a question. The captain does have to answer a question too. Whoever is the captain needs to know what each team member is the most comfortable talking about. For example, say the judges ask a question about the existing solutions and why they won't work. The captain could say, "I know Sarah researched that topic. Sarah, would you like to answer the question?" You can give the judges additional information if they don't have any questions. Everyone on the team needs to be able to answer questions, and when a particular person is answering, the entire team should be engaged. Another tip: predefine everyone's roles in the team beforehand. Each person on the team should be answering questions to demonstrate teamwork and knowledge. it's likely that one person on the team has more expertise on a topic compared to others. That person can add more info if needed. For example, if the judges ask you a question about your code, you would probably want someone who wrote the code to explain it. One of our suggestions from what successful teams have done is to stand in a straight line and have each person take a step forward while they speak, and take a step back once they're finished. That way, multiple people don't talk over and/or interrupt each other. If you would like to practice answering judges' questions, you can click the linked Google document in the description to get a list of judges' questions and what they're looking for during the judges' sessions.
Having a display board at the pit area sparks conversation, and it's useful when judges visit. The display board can be used to explain the team's research project, and we recommend using the research project rubric to help in the design layout of the board. First, you want to draw out the layout of the display board and plan out where certain information needs to be. Next, you want to type the description and enhance the look of the display board, and finally, include several photos of your team and the solution.
Here is the order in which we would present to the judges. First, we would go over the problem statement and briefly explain the problem and why we chose it. Next, we would go over why the problem exists, which brings us to our mission statement, or what part of the problem we want to solve. Then, we would explain our solution, which is the most important part of our presentation. Finally, we would share with who we shared it with and our findings.
Here's an example of a display board layout which follows our suggested presentation order. Feel free to screenshot this and use it for future reference.
A team notebook is a great way for other teams, judges, and visitors to get to know the team. The team can bring their notebook into judging to show the judges. It's a nice way to remember the season too. Here are some things you might include in your team notebook. We suggest to split up your notebook into different sections. For your first section, you can have Introduction to the team members, coaches, and mentors, meeting minutes containing agendas and action items from meetings. Section 2, Project, initial idea, notes of how it evolved over time, information about the project, photos and description of the team sharing and demonstrating the project, documentation about the solution development, and sharing your solution with others. Section 3, Robot. Robot strategy, why you picked the missions and created the runs the way you did. Key features from the robot design, and screenshots of final robot programs. Section 4, additional information. Judges' handouts, thank you letter to sponsors, marketing plan, and newspaper articles about the team. Section 5, the very end, photos from competition.
Teams can create handouts to give to their judges. Depending on the tournament, the judges may or may not accept these team handouts, and they aren't always used in the judging process, but it never hurts to still have them just in case. Judges' handouts can be used to highlight the main points of a team's presentation and to remind the judges of your team. Design the judges' handouts to be a quick reminder of the presentation. Don't include any long paragraphs explaining the team's project since it's just a reminder, and consider the judging rubric when designing your judges' handouts. Most importantly, remember to be creative. Make sure your team handouts are as fun and eye-catching as they are so that they can stand out from the rest of the handouts that other teams give out. If you want, you can also make business cards to give to the judges, and finally, you can give the judges a copy of your team notebook from the last slide. Thank you for watching our tutorial on how to create an effective FLL presentation. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe this video so that the series can be recommended to many other FLL students just like you.